approaching Saint-Jean-de-Lone. What do you think, amore?
It looks pretty sweet.
Very cool docking arrangements here. So there's a pike, a fish in the water. Oh, it was her. Look over there. The storm is a-coming. I'm Maya and this is Aladino. In mid-November, we converted our 28-foot sailboat into a riverboat, and we started going north, from the Mediterranean all the way to the North Sea. In front of us, we had 2,000 kilometers and 200 locks. Join us as we navigate river currents, discover incredible places, cruise through canals, wait out a global pandemic in the heart of France, and record the whole voyage with a new episode every Friday. This is North Through the Continent. We're going north through the continent. It's going to rain more today according to the forecast, and so we don't feel like doing a whole bunch of locks. And pretty close up the river, I think an hour or two journey away, is a town which should be very interesting. The town we had in mind is called Saint-Jean-de-Lone and is apparently one of France's most important inland pleasure craft ports. We had heard that there's a whole host of nautical businesses and projects taking place there, so we were excited to go check it out. I just called the écluse on the VHF to ask them to prepare the lock for us. Just a quick thing about calling the écluses on the VHF. Usually the channel for each écluse is listed either on Navionics, or if you have a good guidebook, it'll tell you, because each écluse operates on a different VHF channel. So you look that up and then you call them as you normally would. Écluse de, you put in the name, so in this case écluse de serre, and then you put the name of your boat. Then you wait for a response. When they respond, then you say on veut montant ou on veut descendant, depending if you want to go up or down. So on veut montant, we want to go up. I don't know if my French is totally correct here, but they always get the point. So you say you want to go up or down, and then you can say sort of approximately where you are, like how far away from the lock you are. And then they'll say okay, and they'll tell you whether or not you'll have to wait or if you can enter right away. And then you say merci and you're all done. And then you go in once the light is green. So I called from the dock. I said we're here on the dock right now. Nous sommes sur le ponton en serre. Et he opened the lock. So now the light is green and we can head on in there.
I dream about us, I dream about the stardust. I dream about us, I dream of how it started and how it's all connected to everything we'll ever do. I think about what the future's holding for us. I think about the gravity and how you are pulling me.
This was the only lock standing between us and the town of Saint-Jean-de-Lone, so we'd soon be there.
I am falling for your grace, and of all the possibilities to think that you would be next to me. Think about all the time I think about us. I think about all the time that lies before us.
As our goal destination of Saint-Jean-de-Lone came into sight, we got really excited. It looked beautiful. Although now an important pleasure boating port, Saint-Jean-de-Lone used to be a main port for cargo vessels. Over the past 3 decades, it has slowly transformed itself and is now an excellent example of a town which reinvented itself to suit modern demands while still maintaining its identity. The river here was lined with boats of all shapes and sizes, many of them far bigger than the average apartment. For the thrifty liveaboard, converted river barges can provide excellent accommodations, and with some work they can be renovated into state-of-the-art homes. What do you think, Amore?
It looks pretty sweet.
It does.
Also, I saw on the radar that we're staying dry till the evening, so we could make it a lot further. But yeah, I like the idea of going and check this place out. I've heard so much about it.
Yeah.
And there's many tie-up options, but how about we go all the way to the end and then turn about and decide after seeing it all?
Sure, sounds good.
All right.
There's also a harbor, but it looks like there's a lot of tie-up options in the town itself as well. Yeah. Very cool docking arrangements here. So there's these metal rings kind of drilled into the stairs.
Hard to see. Look, here is actually another one. The ring
that's a tiny one though. Yeah, the ring's missing. And we are allowed to be here for 3 days if we are less than 15 meters, which we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty nice, right in the middle of town.
Those arrangements are cool, but whenever I approach a wall like this, you also have to check the depth. Not always does it go straight down, like steep. Sometimes it's approaching the shore.
And we can see that there's other boats here, so we figured it would be okay. But
especially sailboats. Yeah.
Yeah, always keep an eye on the depth.
Totally. Yeah.
Now it was time to explore. The main port in town actually lies just off the river, through a small canal. We headed through town to go check it all out. On the way, we passed this church with the famous glazed roof tiles that the region of Burgundy is known for. Then we walked along the river, past this peniche, which is French for barge, along the canal, and then into the harbor. Time to look at some boats.
I've said it many times, I know.
Look at this old diesel. It was 16 horsepower.
16!
Wow.
With that size.
And turning incredibly slowly, 520 RPMs.
Wow.
Here's a Bedouin built in Marseille. Huge, 6-cylinder, but it was 72 horsepower.
72, that's crazy.
This size today, yeah, would be like easily 500 horsepower.
500, that much, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very narrow, but yeah, just in general, this block.
Yeah.
Cool.
So be here as the night starts falling. Let my fingers walk over your head. We got nothing.
The candy bar handrail and the venomous mushroom bollard.
All is in your head.
In case anybody is interested in buying a canal boat, we will walk down the for sale dock for you guys, so you can have a look. Live, big finish. Looks very well maintained. From Groningen, 1903. Wow, 117 years old. Looks in great shape. 108,000. Wow, wow. 36, and it's yours. Now this is a sailboat. No, look, there's a mast, and yeah, I mean they don't have tall rigs, but they still have a lot of sail area and bowsprit and dagger boards. Ah, cute. Wow, wow, holy moly. So pretty. Now this is quality. That's just proper badass.
As interesting as it was to stroll along the docks, I have to say, I was very happy we didn't try to dock here with magic carpet. I've never seen such a huge amount of weeds growing unchecked in a port. So I was just talking about the weeds and whether or not they are removed. And check out this boat, he's going around removing all the weeds. What a contraption. I haven't seen something like that before. It looks like it's got this sort of conveyor belt and it's picking them all up and putting them into the back where there's sort of storage for all the weeds. Very cool.
Designed after a whale shark. No? It goes and picks the plankton.
But then, just as the water weed whacker had passed, I noticed something shiny in the water. So there's a pike, a fish in the water. It seems to be dying, but it does have, it's breathing every now and then. Oh my god. Hillbilly hand fishing. So close. Oh, it was hurt. Oh, it must have been by that machine that was clearing the weeds. Oh. Maybe. What an absolute whirlwind of emotions over here. First of all, I see all these weeds and I think, my goodness, what do you do with all these weeds? You can't have a boat with all these weeds. Get rid of the weeds. And then I see the weed get ridder machine and I see, good job machine. But then we see that the fish has been mortally wounded by the weed get ridder of machine. And now the weed get ridder of machine is suddenly an enemy to the fish, which I like. And I like the fish, but then I also want to eat the fish for dinner. But then also the weeds have to be removed. And
well, now it has been killed.
What is there to believe?
This is perfect. And I mean, if we weren't able to reconstruct the story, I will not eat a fish that lies there, which we don't know why it's dying. But now this is super fresh, it's still breathing, and it has a sign of injury on it. So I think this will be a super yummy pike.
So let's have it for dinner.
Yeah.
Here comes Aladino, the man, the myth, the legend, ready to hit the town with a dead fish as his accessory. Oh, no, I don't love this. Ah.
I'm actually not sure if this is a northern pike or a chain pickerel or even something different. By the way, this is my first ever book. I got this when I was 6 or 7 in a national park in the USA. This has been through everything with me. Yay!
Yay!
Cool book.
But you better start.
Yes, now we do.
Because look over there. The storm is a-coming and it looks like there's rain heading our way. Of all the things I thought would find in Saint-Jean-de-Lone, a mortally wounded pike was not one of them. And of all the things I thought would do in Saint-Jean-de-Lone, filleting a fish on the front steps of town as a storm rolled on in also hadn't made it to the list. But here we were. I guess that's the beauty of an adventure. You never quite know what will happen. First few drops of rain are here. Quickly running to fill up our tanks before our time on the meter runs out. And then we'll put up our cockpit tent and take shelter. You can see the streaks coming down over there. And I can feel the drops now.
Side protection, which I lovingly crafted out of some trash.
The rain was short-lived, but we made some dinner and got cozy inside. We even opened a local bottle of white wine to go with the fish.
I'm pretty excited to try this local wine we were given as a parting gift from a friend we made in Chalon-sur-Saône. Thanks, Olivier. He actually works for the vineyard of Filleting, and it is, yeah, from close by in Chalon, where we just left. It is a white And we also got a red, and I'm super excited about both. This one should go very well with our dinner tonight. I like it.
What a surprise.
Wow. I would compare it to a clister.
Latino Hawaiian connoisseur.
Comparable to a crystal clear fountain up in Alaska.
Interesting.
That's my kind of spring fountain.
So I'm experimenting a bit for dinner tonight. We're gonna have the fish, of course, but then I also wanted to make a side dish. So I threw some red onion and rhubarb into the pan, slowly caramelizing that, along with some herbe de Provence. It smells really good. And then I will make sort of a dough and make tarts out of it. So it'll be caramelized red onion and rhubarb tarts. I don't know if it'll work yet, but hopefully it's good if it does work. It was a really good meal, and when it was over, I went for a walk around town to get to know this place a little better. It was early summer, the sun didn't set until 10, and everything glimmered with pastel colors. My belly was full of delicious local ingredients, and I strolled around slowly, wanting to imprint all of this in my memory. I felt wonderfully melancholic. Aladino and I get to see an incredible amount of beauty on our travels. There's just so much beauty to see, infinite amounts of beautiful places and stories and people that we sail past every day. And sometimes, as I walk around in the setting sun, taking it all in, I'm struck by the fact that I'll only ever be able to catch hints of that beauty. Laughter from a second-story window, a carefully tended flower garden, a book laying open on the railing of a balcony, a group of friends leaning inwards, enraptured by a story. And that's how it happens, me walking around some new town, listening to snippets of conversation in a language I don't understand, struck by how much depth there is behind each of these little snapshots which I'll never know anything more about. Tomorrow morning we'll cast off. Saint-Jean-de-Lone will fade behind us, and all of its stories will continue unchanged. It makes me both heartbroken and blissfully happy, but I suppose it's sometimes enough to know just the breadth of beauty which exists in the world, even without understanding the depth of it all. And for now, there were some very exciting things that we were to look forward to on the river. Tomorrow morning, we would be entering into the Rhine-Rhone Canal, which would lead us through charming French countryside and through a series of tiny locks before arriving at the mighty Rhine River. There's still a lot of beauty yet to be discovered. Thank you so much to all of you for watching. If you liked this episode, please click that thumbs up button as it helps us out a lot. And subscribe to follow along this journey. There's a new episode every Friday. An extra special thank you to our patrons who really make it possible for us to put in all this time and effort to produce one of these episodes every week. And an extra big thank you to these folks who go above and beyond to make sure that these productions keep happening. We'll see you all next week.